being kind of weird, so I'm going to make sure we're live on Facebook.
Okay. And I need to stream us on my account.
Okay. All right, we are live on Facebook, so we're good there. And we're good on YouTube. We'll give it a minute for some people to join us.
And we're live on my account.
Okay, great. All right, we have some people joining, so we can go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our live broadcast. I'm Jamie Chavez, the President and CEO of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce, and every week we bring you a series of live broadcasts. Monday's broadcasts are your backstage pass to City Hall with interviews with City Council members and other key leaders in the city. On Wednesdays, we talk about our newest chamber members, invite them onto the broadcast to
You just froze up.
What they provide and what services are. And then on this, if you are new to our broadcast, thank you for being here. We appreciate you joining us today. We encourage you to like and follow our page so that you'll get notifications when we go live in the future. If you're on YouTube, you can hit subscribe and also view previous broadcasts there as well. And as you watch the broadcast this morning, please feel free to engage with us. Drop any comments, ask any questions, just say hello. We'll get to them during the interview. And now a warm welcome to JeffCo County Commissioner Tracy Kraft Tharp. Happy Friday.
Hi there. Happy Friday and happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you.
And what did you do to celebrate your birthday?
Oh gosh, not much yet, at least. Sort of saving the celebrations for the weekend. But I did have lunch with some friends and hung out with my kids. And yesterday, Parker's here. He's saying hello, so I'll call him out. We had a board meeting and he brought me a cake, so that was really nice. So
nice.
Thank you, Parker. Good morning. And we've got Dave joining us too. Good morning.
Morning, Dave.
And Brian Head. Good morning, Brian.
Oh,
thanks for joining.
Good morning, Brian Head.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a good birthday. But how have you been?
Been very good. We were just talking earlier how shocking it is that we are looking at the end of April.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
Yes, and as I was saying, we did our vacation this month. We went to Myrtle Beach, had a great time. Just kind of sad that it's behind us and not something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's the bad part.
Mm-hmm.
But lots of fun memories, I'm sure.
Yes, we had a great time. Golfing was great.
I'm not much of a golfer, but I have heard that Myrtle Beach is very known for its golf.
We golfed at a place called the International World of Golf, where every hole is a duplicate of some famous hole from another course.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Last night I went to the Rotary Roast and I won a round of golf for 4 at Legacy Ridge, and I guess I'm gonna golf.
I love Legacy Ridge. You will love it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really a good course.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you have for us today? What updates do you have for us?
Well, I have a list. So let's move down the list. Let's ask people to send questions, if either on the list or off the list, other things that they're interested in. So the first thing I want to talk about was something a little different. We had our first quarter of the year report on planning and zoning and development in the county. Planning and zoning is people's worst experience, not just JeffCo, but everywhere. I mean, it's just known for being long and hard and, having to redo things. And so we have a director, Avel Montoya. He's our Director of Development and Transportation. He came to us from Adams County. He was also at Gilpin and Arapahoe. And his goal is to make planning and zoning more efficient and more effective. So we got our first quarter report from them. So I thought I'd bring up, this is a little different than what I usually talk about. So last year, in 2023, we had 487 building permit requests. This year, 418. So a little lower, but still in that 400 level. But listen to this: roofing permits, and we have not had storms with hail. So this was surprising to me. The first quarter of 2023, 171 roofing permits. This year, the first quarter in 2024, 1,600.
Whoa.
Something's happening.
Yeah.
Somebody had a sale on roofing, or something is happening that everybody is replacing the roof. So I thought that was
getting to the end of, like the time frame that you have to replace it from.
That might be, but it just seems like we're entering into spring when we get a lot of hail. So why would you be doing it first quarter? I don't know.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
So that was interesting. Inspections, 12,950 inspections last year. This year, 17,600. Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So, of course, everybody is thinking with that additional work, are people waiting longer? And what I want to tell you is from this report, no. 100% of calls were returned within 48 hours, which for me, I personally try to return calls within 24 hours. But for planning and zoning, to return calls within 48 is like a miracle, and I hope everybody appreciate that. 100% call return. So one of the problems that planning and zoning has, not just at JeffCo, but everywhere, is they can't keep staff. It's a hard job. It's an entry-level job. People get promoted pretty quickly. We had 100% employee retention in the first quarter. So we've hired everybody, and 100% of people have stayed. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. Yeah, that's pretty unheard of.
But they really have been making an effort at working with their staff to make it a good working environment so that people would stay. So I think that's, part of what's happening there that's really, working out well. So within our development planning and zoning department, we have road and bridges. And road and bridges, they're working on a pedestrian underpass on Kent Carl Road down south. We got a national award for it.
Oh, cool.
From the Department of Transportation. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? So I hope that they put a plaque up saying National Award for this pedestrian intersection.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. So we have talked a lot about Together JeffCo, and that's within this planning and zoning piece and the goal of making everything more efficient and more effective. So Together JeffCo had more open houses this last month. We had talked about that a month ago. They had an open house in Evergreen. They had one in Arvada. Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. I don't remember, down south in Littleton, I think. They had another open house. So they had, and then they also did a survey that they were asking for feedback, and that up until last Friday, I think. So they now have completed the first module of Together JeffCo. So they are putting that together, and in May we'll bring that to the Board of County Commissioners where we will approve it. So really want to encourage people, if you are interested in planning and zoning development, if you are interested in master planning, if you are interested in growth and development in Jefferson County, go to the Together JeffCo page, follow what we're doing, send in your feedback. We will be working on module 2 and module 3 the next couple months, but need to hear from you. So 2 months ago, I think, Jamie, There was an accident over by Indiana and 58th of a girl on her horse. A car slid through the intersection and hit them. They had to put the horse down. It was not a good
Oh,
situation. I know, not a good situation at all. So the horse community, equestrian community, in the western part of JeffCo has really been concerned. There's a lot
yeah.
of growth, a lot of development, a lot of changes, and what's happening to be able to make it safe for their riders. So they have had several meetings with our planning and zoning folks and really looking at what do we need to do to make sure that we are keeping that culture. Because as we're growing, we want to make sure we keep the unique culture of Jefferson County.
Yeah.
So our planning and zoning people are working very closely with them. So I thought that was really great.
Yeah. I hadn't heard about that accident. That's really too bad.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
The girl on the horse was not hurt. She, slid off the horse into the car, but she was not seriously hurt. But unfortunately, the horse had to be put down. So that was very sad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad they're working on a plan there.
Yes, pretty tragic for the community.
Yeah.
Okay, I have different notes in different places that I'm searching for here. Then the next thing I want to talk about is, I don't know if people know this, but when the new owners of the Broncos came to town and they transferred the ownership of the stadium, that there was citizens have been paying on that stadium through taxes for years. So there was an agreement that if it were ever to transfer, money would be going towards youth services in different counties and different municipalities within the community. So Jefferson County received $1.1 million of stadium district funds. We held a number of focus groups, both online. I think we also did live. Really got feedback from people. Set, I think I'm looking at my notes, 4 categories that we wanted to fund: social engagement, program enrichment, infrastructure and equipment, and scholarship support. And then asked community organizations to apply for funding within those categories. So we have awarded those funds, $1.1 million. And so I just want to talk a little bit about where that money went. So we gave $300,000 to inclusive and accessible playgrounds, both at Edgewater Elementary and Beaver Ranch Park. Pro-social, human services, pro-social, transitional housing, got $100,000. The library young author program got $42,000. Public health youth task force got $80,000. The Dolly Parton Imagination Library, which provides books to youth 1 through 5. They get a book every month. My
Yeah.
friend Jack Tate, that I served with in the legislature, he is the Colorado representative for the Dolly Parton program. So we gave them $50,000.
Awesome.
Yes. So everybody, so that $1.1 million, when you give it out in little chunks like that, goes a long way. So we were able
Yeah.
to give to a lot of different programs. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. So the 300,000 that you gave to accessible playgrounds,
Right.
is it to update playgrounds to make them more accessible or build new ones, or what's the funding going to actually do?
I don't remember.
That's okay.
There
No,
was
I
a
just
lot.
asked. I have a daughter with spina bifida, and so she's actually very not impacted by it at all. But we are in that world, and so I know a lot of kiddos,
Oh,
including one of my neighbors that uses a wheelchair and a walker, and so always interested in what people are doing to make parks more accessible for kiddos.
oh
So
yeah. Well, so you should go check that out and let us know.
yeah, I will.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. So I want to stay on growth and development. So one of the other big issues that is out there is short-term rentals. So my husband and I use short-term rentals all the time. So I have this from I understand this from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But from the county perspective, we have had a requirement that you need to buy a permit. And say, I don't know, 3 years ago, there were very few people that had permits. Like people just were not getting county permits, probably
Yeah.
because they didn't know, but probably because there was no enforcement and it was expensive. So the county has really been working on, number one, letting people know that they need to get permits, but number two, what are the requirements to get that permit? What do you need to do to be able to get a short-term rental permit and to be able to provide that service in Jefferson County? So they are in the process. So there's some temporary, well, not really temporary, but long-term requirements, criteria that you have to follow. But then they are looking at updating those. So this is another area where people should go online to jeffco.us and give feedback. But there's things like fire mitigation. So if you are going to rent your house for a short-term rental, should you be someone that's already taken care of the fire mitigation? Should you give your contact information to your neighbors all around so that they know? What rules and regulations should you have um, to people that you rent to? Um, there's a lot of really strong opinions, especially up in the mountains and the Evergreen
Yeah.
community. So I really encourage people. We are working on this probably between now and fall. So if you had feedback, if you have ideas, if there's things that you want to see, let us know.
Okay. We do have a question. Do you want it now or do you want to wait till you're...
A question would be great.
Okay, sounds good. This is from Parker. I know I mentioned this probably a year ago. Is there any chance to have the unincorporated part of Old Wadsworth in between Carrabba's and 100th to have the sidewalks installed? The sidewalk stops when it goes from Westminster owned to unincorporated JeffCo part of the street.
Parker, would you do me a favor and send that to me? Either text or email would be fine, and I'll pass that on to our planning and development folks. Okay.
Cool. Thank you,
Cool.
Parker.
So I just have two other pieces of information, and then we can always go over information I've done in the past. But one is people may have seen Channel 9 News the other night, which is why I thought I would bring it up. Our treasurer, yes, thank you, Parker. We'll see if we can get that taken care of. Our treasurer was on Channel 9 last night. So when you get your property tax bill, you pay property tax to a number of different sources. The schools is about 50% of the property tax that you pay. The county is about 24 cents out of every dollar that you pay. So it's 24%. And then there's a number of depending upon where you live, it might be parks and recs, might be a mental health district, might be a developmental disability district. So there's a lot of other districts. You might live in an area that has a metro district. And so your property taxes comes to the county. We distribute it to those other sources. So part of what happens is that we send out a notice. We have a deadline and send out a notice to all of the different sources and ask them to tell us by a certain date if they want to be on the property tax distribution list again this year. So apparently what happened is that there were a number of districts that responded by email, and those emails went into spam.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think we can all understand. We've all had that experience.
Yep.
We all know, know what that's like. But in this case, it's a problem. So the treasurer's office sent out the bill for the property tax, and there were a number of sources that were not on your property taxes because the budgeting department didn't get that email notification. So part of what happened is that they notified people that there was a mistake that was made, and your property tax is what you need to pay is different. So the treasurer was on the news the other night talking about this, about why people received a second notification. It affects about 6,500 taxpayers. So it's too bad. But what's really important is that our budgeting department has looked at what do we need to do to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the important part.
Yeah. 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 That's a really unfortunate thing.
It's really unfortunate. And you know what's really unfortunate about it? Our property taxes have gone up. Last year they went up 37%. This year, because of the repeal of Gallagher, our property taxes probably went up, a couple more percentages. You're already getting your property tax notification. You're already upset because it went up, and then to find out you didn't get the whole thing and you get a second notice. That's really too bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that update.
So, and then the second news from the treasurer's office is, so I pay my property taxes through my mortgage. Apparently, a lot of people do not. I don't know. I think you don't if you've already paid off your mortgage. I'm not in that boat. So if you pay your property tax yourself, you could come to our office, and you could go into the office and you could pay it. Or there's a property tax payment box outside of the office. Who knew?
Okay.
Apparently, somebody tried to break into that box.
No.
Yes. Isn't that too bad? They did not get in.
Good.
But they tried. So the treasurer's office has pulled that box. He was on the news again for that, saying he wasn't going to replace it. I have encouraged him to work with the sheriff's department about making it safer. But heaven forbid, work with the clerk's office, because they have boxes with voting and they keep voting ballots safe. So they obviously know how to do it.
Yeah.
So I've
This is why we can't have nice things, Tracy.
Yes, you are right. Nice response. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It's too bad when we can't have nice things.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. So lots of excitement at the county treasurer's office this last month.
Yeah. So I assume there's no like camera footage or.
There is, and
Okay.
I actually saw a film of I think there was a truck that tried to back into it and tried to break it open. Yeah. So that's too bad. We didn't get oh, okay. No one wants to steal ballots, but people would want to steal checks. Very true. However, they do keep those ballot boxes safe for voting. So what are they doing to do that? And maybe we need to make sure we're doing the same thing for property tax boxes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's people's, checking information and yeah.
Yes. Yes. So that's my list. So do we have other questions in a little bit of time that we have left?
Well, we'll give some people a chance here to post if they've got anything. One thing I always like to ask is just how people can reach out to you if they need anything or have any questions or feedback for you.
That's perfect, because I always think about putting that at the end of the list and then I forget. I encourage people to email me at tkTharp@jeffco.us. Or you could call, you could stop down. I'm not in the office a whole lot because I'm out in the community at different meetings. But what I always forget to remind people of is Tuesdays at 9:00. We have a hybrid Board of County Commissioner hearings. And that's 9:00 until we are done. I mean, there's times we've gone till 2, 3, 4 o'clock. We usually go till 10:30, 11 o'clock. But you can go online and or you could come down and see us and visit us. We have coffee down at we have a little coffee kiosk down there now. So you can come down and get some coffee and spend the morning with us. After our hearings, we have briefings in which staff are brief us on different issues before they get brought to us at the hearings.
Okay.
There's no public testimony at briefings, but there's lots of, I think, interesting information.
All right. Thank you. We did get a question from Dave. Do you have an ETA on when the Bighorn Group will be presenting their community outreach findings to the commissioners?
Yes. So the Bighorn Group and their subcontractor are currently in the field doing polling. There's a 3-phase polling process. They have just completed phase 2. They gave us an update on that. Then they're going to do phase 3. And then in May or June, we should get a formal presentation at one of the staff briefings on their findings and their recommendations. So we are moving along. You may hear, I don't know if this is confidential information. I don't know. Does anybody watch these? Everybody
we won't tell.
Yes. So the polling results have been correct. So you may see them on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't encourage people to do that because you don't get the explanation, and you really need to have the explanation around what does it mean, what direction. Just because something says it's 56%, there's not an automatic. What does that mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that should be. We're moving along. The goal is to be done and have a decision by end of July. So May and June will be busy months for that.
Yeah. Well, what else do you see looking ahead as priorities for the county in the coming months?
Always budget. Always budget. We need to finish up with the ARPA dollars. So we've distributed the ARPA dollars, but all ARPA dollars have to be distributed by the end of this year. It's spent by I think 2026. So finishing up that process. But as I've mentioned before, we're looking at somewhere between $28 and $32 million deficit next year, largely because items that have been funded through ARPA, we won't, and that's the federal dollars, we won't have that anymore. And so we'll have to cover that through state dollars. So that is really our focus this year, is how will we cover a $28 to $32 million deficit?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Big job. Yeah.
Big job. Yes.
All right. Well, I don't think we've got any other questions. Do you have anything else you want to share?
Sim Street, still working on it. October is the target date. Come down and visit us down at the county. Yeah, I actually sometimes after my meetings, I walk, go back to get my car, and I look in the hearing room, and Parker Brown is there because he serves on the liquor board, and they meet in the morning. So sometimes he's there, so I come down and wave to him.
Parker's all over the place.
He is.
He's a busy guy.
Good community guy, and they make amazing chicken marsala, I just want to say.
All right.
Maybe turning the Taj into a short-term rental will pay for the deficit. Well, there we go. So how much, Mr. Carpenter, how much would you pay to be able to stay at the Taj? We'll have to be looking into that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. I always enjoy our talks, and looking forward to the next one at the end of May, which is probably going to be tomorrow at the rate we're going.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate the opportunity to be able to do this, and love spending time with you.
Yeah, same here. And thanks everybody for joining.
Birthday celebration.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good one, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Okay.